C. The Insane, by Niemand. Chapter 1. Shattered Soul. C suddenly realized he was in a maelstrom of light and darkness as confusion twisted his mind. He could sense his surroundings with his consciousness. The light was like a reverberating, incoherent sound that would form a still picture for an instant, and the dark was silence. Light, dark, dream, nightmare. It was like he was watching an eternal slideshow of random images in a void. The image at first looked like a white light, coming towards him from a great distance. No light shone in his eyes from the images, and the light would not get brighter or larger. Then, the light would be speeding past him, and he would only catch a fleeting glance of the image. When turning to look at the picture, there would be blackness, then another image would fly by. It felt to C like he was spinning with vertigo and couldn't stop his mind's eye from looking at the pictures. He was frequently turning to look at the image, to catch it so he could observe the picture to think about it, but the image would be gone before he could catch it. He would just feel either bliss or misery as he observed the picture for an instant. The images were all perpetual moments, all happening individually and all at once, the eternal memory of a soul that was shredded. He fought to fix his mind on one moment and stay in it, whether it was a dream or a nightmare, he no longer cared. More moments were flung through his mind. He knew the moments were memories that had been fragmented into individual snapshots with no sequence. Within the insanity, he had an instant of serenity that stayed with him. The serenity was a memory, a thought of peace. It was a type of stillness, it was a thought rather than a memory, because generally, memories are associated with pictures. There were no pictures, and he could no longer recall what that first thought was. All C could think was, this is the absolute serenity. It was an instant that gave him a fragment of lucidity which he held in his mind. The moment was now a gap in C's knowledge, something he knew he had forgotten. It was the gap around which he was building knowledge. It was an eye of calm forming in the maelstrom of madness. C could now keep some moments of clarity in his mind, single pictures from which he gleaned information. Memories that gave him knowledge. He remembered that power comes from knowledge. He was trying to hold enough moments in his mind so he may gain knowledge, and thus the power to break out of this insanity. He remembered a war between his kind known as the Chaos War, a war that rages in the eternity of all 12 dimensions and all realities. C remembered searching to restore order now he was here. Wherever here is, C thought. He could remember, the order is peace, and peace is sanity, the disorder is chaos, and chaos is insanity. In another moment in the serenity, he recalled his kind, the Hue, that are godlike beings, however, he was a godlike being stuck in insanity. C was not sure how long he had been in insanity. Time was a device used by the Hue to track events in four-dimensional realities, a system to control the lesser beings created by the Hue, called humans. Some Hue would live among the humans. He was not sure if he lived among the humans or not. The few moments C held in the clarity of his mind are his only memory of not being in insanity, and it was these moments of serenity that drove him to continue to try to make sense of the insanity, instead of jumping into it. He remembered being alone more than anything else. From memories he had found, it seemed he had spent most of his moments searching for knowledge instead of fighting in the war. From the still pictures, he remembered how he was confronted by others of his kind wanting to consume C for his power or play mind games. They called it a challenge. He thought of it as pestiferous behavior. C would try to reason with them sometimes, who knows for how long. What is time to an eternal being? C thought. Other times, it seemed he would punch them in the face as soon as they showed it. Some would go away and never come back, others insisted on continually annoying him. C would either rip the other hue apart slowly or kill them quickly, depending on his mood. His thinking was that both methods were an object lesson for the others, and all he asked was they leave him in peace to think. One of his moments was an experience of somewhere that was not a reality, in the sense that there was more to the reality than what the physical senses could detect. Where he was now was not physical, it was an isolated energy field. C recalled when he first came here there was physical pain, however, C moved into the physical pain to become the pain. The more he had tried to run from the pain, the worse it became. He turned to face it and realized he still had consciousness and the physical was an illusion. Now he was left with his consciousness, trying to make sense of his fragmented soul. C was then in a moment of darkness, a nightmare. He held the moment in his consciousness, then entangled his consciousness with the soul memory. There was blackness. It was oblivion. He had experienced this before. He had conquered insanity, although insanity still threatened to consume his mind, an effect of being in oblivion, as his consciousness struggled to make out a geometrical object. He still had no form. He was a consciousness escaping a black hole into blackness, a thought that can sense cosmic vibrations which it can connect to as a fixed point, a solid object. He had insanity chasing him as he set out across oblivion. Suddenly, a vibration, a cosmic energy in the empty space, entangled with his essence. The frequency of the energy appeared in his mind as a single white star trying to shine through a thick fog. Next. Chapter 2.